Son of a
Yes, we are back. Welcome to Car Goggles.
Hello.
I am Juan.
I am Mark.
That is Mark. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know why you don't have your goggles on right now.
Oh, geez, sorry.
But we are here to talk about Alfa Romeo this time.
Yeah, but can we just take the goggles off or not? I mean, it can't be.
We're car goggles. We must have
Yeah,
goggles.
they get it. They don't have to. It's a little too spot on.
All right, well you go and you
Where's
talk
my
while I
coffee,
have a
dude?
coffee. I offered you one.
Oh, this is gonna be the worst one yet.
It's really good.
Yeah, I bet.
You're missing out. So we're here to talk about Alfa Romeo. Alfa is a sort of a new brand, but it is an old brand. It's got a
Italiano.
It's got a lot of history. It
Yep.
is, like my partner says, it is Italian. Very cool brand. They used to make some unbelievably styled vehicles. Nowadays, they obviously, I guess, current market, you can't. Well, no, the 4C, they got the 4C, two-door, four-cylinder, carbon chassis, fantastic sports car. Not
Yes.
going to sell well because it's basically a race car.
Right, but
Cool car.
an amazing value used.
Yes.
Right now, you can go pick one up for around 35 grand for one that's like 2-3 years old.
Which is absolutely
Amazing.
If I had the dollars, there'd be one in the garage. It's that cool of a car.
Yes.
It's the technology and the materials in it are just unbelievable. Really, for what you get. Whether or not Alfa stays in the U.S. market, they have pulled out in the past. Can I say pulled out?
No, we'll edit that out because that's a suggestive.
So yeah, but if they hang around. It'll be interesting to see how that car holds up. I think like Mark says, it's a cool car for the money right now. It's just absolute.
It's a
bargain.
Super lightweight, 237 horsepower, super fast, super just visceral. I mean, there's no soundproofing on it whatsoever. You feel everything in that car, which is exactly what a car like that should be. Mm-hmm. It's got all the styling that you would expect an Alfa Romeo to have. It's a gorgeous, super underrated car that will beat you up. It will beat you up, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right. It's. I don't know if it's underrated. It's interesting because it's not really an everyday car. So how do you rate the car? Right. You can't put groceries in it. Mm-hmm. You can only fit one person in it other than yourself if you're the driver. There's no frunk even. You can't even open. There's nowhere to put anything. So it's really just a single focus.
But wouldn't you buy one if you had 35 grand?
All day long.
If you had it's
like a motorcycle. It's like a four-wheeled motorcycle.
That's exactly this guy. That was good. It's a four-wheeled motorcycle.
Correct.
And that's exactly what it
is.
is.
And here I own motorcycles. They are absolute blasts to drive. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you look at it that way. I hate to use the word toy. I hate, toy.
It's a toy though.
Whatever. But
it's not.
Let's just say it's a single focus. It's got a very defined purpose, and it does it well. Like Mark said, it is a absolute bargain at the number. It's interesting. I want to talk about Alfa. They got a lot of cool. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah,
I'm guessing because my Alfa, my first cars. Some of the first cars I've ever loved were the old Alfas. One of them in particular was the GTV6, hatchback 2-door, one of the best and probably arguably one of the best sounding motors of all time. Still a relatively bargain basement budget where you can get one of these days, but only because they're a nightmare to keep running. You have to be a mechanic or very well heeled to keep one of those on the road because it's not going to be cheap. But cool looking car, poor man's Ferrari, if you will. But definitely one of my favorites. The old Alfa Spider, another cool little car.
Yep.
Chevy Chase made it famous in Fletch.
That's right. That's right. Great movie.
That scene, great movie. But yeah, there's a lot of cool cars. If you go back, they had the Montreal, they had the Stradale, they had the original Giulietta. I mean, very cool cars. Nowadays they have
Giulia.
They
have the Stelvio.
Stelvio, which is an SUV, which I guess it's inevitable. Everybody gets gold.
But here's the thing: Here's what I like about Alfa Romeo. They had some cars that were older that didn't really fit in with where they are now. So they cut those out. So basically they have the Giulia, which is an amazing car. A sedan. Fantastic car. Yeah. They have the Stelvio.
The 500 horsepower car. I don't know about
the normal one's very good too.
Car. I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually really a good car too. It's just not, 505 horsepower,
right.
443 pounds of torque on the Quadrifoglio. Casa Clover, the
clover, four-leaf clovers, basically.
The Casablanca edition. So
yes.
It's that's an amazing performance, and that's what the M3 should be.
Correct.
That car. And the Stelvio is basically the SUV version of that, right down to the engine. They put
is it really just
Quadrifoglio? They put the Quadrifoglio edition with the exact same engine in it, and that thing is fantastic too. The only thing I don't like about the Alfa is that, just like the BMW, the interiors are pretty bare. I mean, you can, on the Quadrifoglio, you can get carbon fiber to dress it up a little bit, but they're very businesslike, and they're a little bit too boring on the inside. But
which
that's
is
the way they're supposed to be.
The Italian way. Typically, they put a decent amount of styling into it, whether you like it or not. Pardon my ring there. I'm just going to go ahead and mute that. We are pros, believe it or not. Actually, we're not even close.
Nope.
But yeah, the styling interior wise, you figure for an Italian car, whether it's good or bad, there's always a little bit of styling put into them. But yeah, if you're getting basic, it's because maybe they're just, I don't think they're 100% in. They're styling on the exterior. They're putting big motors in them. It's almost like the American car thing, right? It's like the old American cars. Neat styling on the outside, big giant motor, terrible suspension, horrible, even worse interior. And I don't know if actually it makes sense because Alfa Romeo is part of FCA, which is Fiat Chrysler.
Yeah.
So they have a little bit of domestic influence, and maybe that's
there's definitely in that company. There is a push and pull. There's Ferrari, which is part of FCA, but kind of way over on the side.
Yeah.
And they are fighting to stay out of it. And Alfa Romeo wants more of ties to Ferrari than to FCA, which is, the Chrysler vehicles. So,
right.
And I think they've largely been successful, other than that other SUV. What was that other SUV that Alfa had? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. But I think the Giulia and the 4C Spider and the Stelvio, I think those are actually, when you drive them, they're nothing like, what is that? The Chrysler 200,
right?
Or the 300?
Yeah. No, they've got solid chassis.
Yeah, absolutely. So they really have kept themselves separate, but they just need to really work on their interiors and make them something more special. Because if you look at BMW and Audi and Mercedes, they've really made their new interiors very special, very good. They've done a great job.
Yeah, they have. Everybody's figured out that the interiors are just as important as exteriors.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that Alfa has chosen to make them a little bare bones. I'm gonna have to cut Mark off. We're gonna have to look at part 2 for more Alfa.
Do it.
Thanks for tuning in to Car Goggles.